to our talk on godliness and spirituality. Now, before I begin to enumerate the characteristics of the earthbound man, or one that is earthly bound, an earth man, let me read some portions of the scriptures. Colossians chapter 3, I read verse 2. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Why? If you set your affections on things of the earth, or of things on the earth, you will be earthbound. You will be an earthbound man. And you know the consequences. When you die, you are going to descend to the lower part of the earth where there is darkness and blackness. That's why he's saying, set your affections, your emotions, your activity on things above, not on things on the earth. Why is it important that you do that? Why is it important that you set your affections on the earth, on the things that are above, not on the things that are on the earth? Look at Romans chapter 8, I read verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. That's why he's telling you, set your affections on things above. That will help you to transcend. If you set your affections on, your affections, your things, what the things that are in your heart, going on in your heart, if you set that affection on the things above, it means that you have transcended. It means that you have gone above the earth. You are no longer operating within the dictates and confines of the earth. You have transcended. That is what it means. That's why I'm telling you, set your affections on things above, so that you can transcend, that you can move above the activities of the earth and move into the next realm. That's why, I talked about transcend. You have to transcend. You have to move above the activities of the earth. That's why I say, set your affections. How do you do that? Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Why? To be carnally minded is death. If you are carnally minded, that is, if you set your affections on the things of the earth, it will bring death. It will bring death. What will be that death? When you die, you will descend to the lower part of hell. You will descend to the lower part of the earth. Because you are earthbound. Because your affections are still on the things of the earth, on earthly things. And so, since your affections are bent, are anchored on the earthly things, when you die, you'll be drawn by the power controlling those things to the down part of the, to the lower part of the earth. That is where you see darkness and blackness. But if you move your affections on the things of the things above, it means you are going to transcend. It will help you to transcend. For the spiritually minded is life and peace. Is life and peace. Is life and peace. Let me read on to verse 11. Let me go. Because the carnal mind is enmity with God. Somebody who is earthbound, is carnal, is enmity with God, is enmity against God. For it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But if you are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so be that the spirit of God dwells in you. Now, if a man have not the spirit of Christ, is not of his. And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, and the spirit is life because of, look at verse 11. For if the spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwelleth in you, he that raised up Jesus from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by the spirit that dwelleth in you. It will make you, that spirit will quicken your mortal body. So that when you close your eyes in death, when you transit, that spirit that is working in you, because you set your affections on things above, that spirit that is working, the spirit of God that is working in you, will now quicken your mortal body to move up instead of descending down. Because the power of the things, of the material things, will push you down to the lower part of the earth. But if you set your affections on things above, that means you have transcended, when the Spirit of Christ will be in you. And so when you close your eyes in death, that Spirit will quicken your mortal body to move up, because you have transcended. Let's go to, that is the last one I'm going to read. Let's go to Philippians before I enumerate that. Philippians chapter 3, I read verse 18. Philippians chapter 3, I read verse 18. Philippians chapter 3, I read verse 18. For many work of whom I have told you before, and now I say that weeping, I tell that even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things, Look at what he says. Whose end is destruction, their end is destruction, whose God is their belly. They are talking about God, but their God is their stomach. They are looking at what to get into the stomach, what to get onto the body, what they are going to wear, what they are going to eat, what they are going to. They are minding earthly things, how much weight they are going to control, how much possession they are going to have, how much material things because they are earthly, because they are minding earthly things. That is their God. That they are making all these things their God. They are serving Satan. They are serving Mammon, the God of this world, and whose glory is in their shame. What? Who mind earthly things. And so the characteristics of eight-bound man, of eight-bound woman, of eight-bound person. Characteristics. Number one, fear. An eight-bound person fears every time. Fear of death, fear of the unknown, they fear. That's why through all their lifetime they are afraid. They can go to juju, they can do all these things in order to make something for their protection. An eight-bound man has unforgiving spirit, does not forgive easily, does not forgive. He will lay it to his side, say, well, I can talk with you, but forever and ever I will not forgive you. Until I die, I will not forgive you. That's the characteristic of an eight-bound man. He can never forgive. He will say, until death do us pass, I will not forgive. Until I die in this world. Some will say, over their dead bodies, they will not forgive. They will not forgive. That's the characteristic of an eight-bound man. Men pleasers, eye pleaser, eye service. They give eye service. They like to please man rather than God. They like to do things that man will be pleased rather than God. They follow their tradition. They follow their culture, and they abandon the way of the Lord. Instead of going the way of the Lord, they want to obey their tradition. They want to obey their culture. They want to obey their custom. That's the characteristics of an eight-bound man. He is culturally bound. He is traditionally bound. Everything about tradition, everything about culture, that is what he is concerned. Is eight-bound man. Is men pleasers. He likes to please. Some of them worship their pastors. Some of them worship their GO. Some of them worship their religious leaders. Some of them worship their radio founders. Some of them they worship all these religious people, and they worship. They say, this is my preacher. This is my GO. This is my imam. This is my whatever. And they worship them. They bow down to them. They worship them. Some, in the name of their culture, they worship man, and they are prostrating man. They say, oh, this is our culture, because that's not respect. No, it's not a respect. You are worshiping man. Men pleasers, they can only do some things except the person is there. When that person is there, they can do something. But the moment the person is away and they are supposed to do things right, they will not do things right. They are men pleasers. That's the characteristic of an eight-bound man. I serve practices tribalism. An eight-bound man, he delights in practicing tribalism, favoring somebody from his own tribe, and other tribes can perish, other tribes can die. Giving juicy contracts, giving juicy things, favoring them. Even when they don't deserve it, they give it to them. Tribalism. An eight-bound man practices tribalism, practices nepotism, practicing favoritism. It is not deep in that. It's unrepentant in practicing all this favoritism, tribalism, nepotism, and so on. It lacks the fruit of the spirit. It manifests the works of the flesh. Fornication, adultery, it lies anyhow, political lies, economic lies, social lies, religious lies, all kinds of lies, diplomatic lies, governmental lies. Some will even say religious lies, they lie, all kinds of lies, they lie. To say their goods, economic lies, trade lies, business lies, they lie, all kinds of lies. That's the characteristic of an eight-bound man. is controlled by the works of the flesh. It's in fornication, it's in adultery, it's in lesbianism, it's in all kinds of corrupt practices. Homosexuality is there, masturbation is there, pornography is there. That's the characteristic. They delight in all this internet immorality. They are there. They enjoy that and they pleasure in that. And they even encourage people. They say, no, you do that. Everybody is doing it. That's the characteristics of an earthbound man. That woman is earthbound. He pursues money and materialism with reckless abandon and passion and attaches the soul and spirit to them. The characteristics of an earthbound man, earthbound woman, earthbound person, he pursues money. He serves the God of Mammon. He pursues money and materialism with reckless abandon and attaches his soul, his spirit, his body to them, to the pursuit of money, to the pursuit of materialism, to the pursuit of material things. There's the characteristics of an earthbound man. The affections are on the things of the earth. He lacks the gifts of the spirit. He lacks love. He lacks control. He lacks the gift of the spirit. Lacks that. He lacks the gift of the spirit. Manifest the works of the flesh. He's a demagogue. Political demagogue. Economic demagogue. Social demagogue. Governmental demagogue. Religious demagogue. They are into demagoguery. That's the characteristic of an earthbound man. Gratifies and adores the worship of the flesh. They are worshiping the flesh. They are looking at the things that they're going to put on their body. They are looking on the things, how people will regard them. They are very proud, very arrogant. That's the characteristic of an earthbound man. Full of pride. That's the characteristic of an earthbound man. He's only talking about how the position, his post, his privileges, and whatever. When you look at him, you see that he's puffed up. That's the characteristics of an earthbound man. Gratifies and adorns the flesh. He likes, this. Look at the flesh. Look at how this person is looking. He's looking at the flesh. All his concern is assessing somebody through the flesh, assessing somebody through how the person looks. That's the characteristics of an earthbound man. If you go to his congregation, if you are not, if he looks at you and you know that you are poor, he looks at you, you know that you are a little bit of a lower class, he will say, go and sit down there. And he sees somebody who dresses gorgeously and comes to his church, he say, come and sit up here. That's the characteristic of an earthbound man. He's controlled by the flesh. He practices customs and traditions. I say that he adores his culture, he adores his tradition, he adores his traditions of men and elders instead of the commandment of God. That's the tradition, that's the characteristic of an earthbound man. And you see all these characteristics, that's how you can know that somebody is earthbound, that somebody is tied to the things of the world. He worships position, he worships post, he worships power, he worships all these things. That's the characteristics of an earthbound man. And the Lord will help and deliver us.